How you doing, everyone? This is probably not the video you thought you were going to get, but before we kick off, I do have some notes that I'm going to be reading from, so if you see my eyes kind of ducking down, that's what I'm doing to keep us on track. So on Friday the 15th of November, 5 days after Melbourne 70.3, I was disqualified. Ironman and Triathlon Australia agreed that I did not break any rules in either the written rules from Ironman or from Triathlon Australia. However, according to Section 11 of the Triathlon Australia rules, it states technical officials are allowed to assess penalties even if the infringement is not listed in the race conduct rules. This decision came after a couple viewers of my Melbourne race recap video sent the video to Ironman to protest my actions, which included coming closer into shore so I could run and wade part of the swim given the tide was so low. The race officials had no concern on the day of the event with my actions and were unsure as my actions did not intervene in any specific rules. Hence, this query ended up with the Triathlon Australia head referee. This referee was not present on the day of the race and used our discussions, in which I was 100% open and truthful and cooperative in, as well as watching my race recap video in the officials' words many times to gain an understanding of the situation and come to a conclusion. Of course, I have not hidden anything and in fact communicated openly, showing it to the world on YouTube because I thought it was permitted and well understood. Our discussions went over a couple days, and on Friday the official deemed I gained an unfair advantage and chose to disqualify me. I respect their decision. Before we dive into this too much more, I wanted to take a step back and give you some more background as to who I am as a person, so that new viewers can gain a bit more insight into what this channel is about and the intent I had in my decision making. After my mum passed away from terminal cancer a few years ago, my dad, brother and I started a small organisation that raises money for families with terminal illnesses. In a letter she wrote to me to read after her passing, she said, "Every time you see a butterfly, I want you to think of something to be grateful for and something kind you can do for someone else." So we called the organisation Fee's Butterfly Effect, and it's what the butterfly tattoo on my arm is for. Furthermore, 100% of donations go to families in need. I also work as a disability support care worker down here in Melbourne for an amazing company that does amazing things for those in need. And I love that every day in between training, I get to directly help those in need. Now, why I share these two parts of my life is to tie this together with triathlon. In my heart, I truly want others to be encouraged and live the best lives they can. As an athlete, I am extremely competitive. I'm here to push myself to the absolute limits and go up against the best. Each race, I also expect others to race to their full mental and physical potential. That is racing. I don't know any other way than to give 100%. I will always lay it all out there and use my knowledge of the course, rules and conditions to go as fast as possible, as I expect others to do. However, I will never intentionally race outside of the rules or attempt to gain any unfair advantage, as it is simply not in my nature. I want to race the best and I want to race fairly. So, how does being an extremely focused athlete doing all they can to be the best they can also live a life that has a positive impact on others? Well, firstly, I've shared some brief glimpses with the support work and Fee's Butterfly Effect, but where I truly feel my purpose at the moment is by sharing my journey with others and hopefully helping to inspire others to never give up on chasing their dreams and living life to the fullest. And the true core behind this channel since the very start has been sharing the very fact that we all face adversity in life. We all face challenges, but it is how you choose to view them, respond them, and learn from them that matters. Good always comes from tough times if you allow it. Any obstacle I've faced in life, whether it's been Fee passing away or my 1.5 year long knee injury or whatever it's been, I've become a better person out the other side of it, and I truly believe this to be one of the keys to living a good life. I also understand that there will be people who want to find fault and pull me down, and unfortunately there is nothing I can do about that. It's simply part of racing and making content for the world to see. I have inevitably opened myself up to this criticism. It's just that this is the first time I have faced it from my YouTube, which up until now has only been a completely positive and supportive environment for all. And maybe this video will draw further criticism. However, if myself or the content does upset you, then maybe this channel isn't for you, as I want this channel to continue to support others. I understand people having questions, as Ted Lasso said, be curious, not judgmental. However, I don't appreciate people making personal attacks on me. And to put it into perspective, we are only talking about a handful of people that have been negative. From this video, there will be people who don't want to rationalize, and there will also be people who disagree with me, and that is perfectly understandable, as the technical official also disagreed with me. After this video, I won't be addressing this topic anymore, not in any future videos and not in the comments. This process has certainly helped me gain more respect for people that face criticism in competition or social media, and as a result of this process, I've formed a good working relationships with both Triathlon Australia and Ironman. And I'm glad that I've experienced my first little snippet of public dissatisfaction, as it probably won't be the last, and I feel I will be better equipped next time. So for that, I am already grateful. So why did I decide to make this video? Well, honestly, I wasn't even going to address it, as I'm assuming 99% of my followers and viewers wouldn't even know otherwise. And part of me didn't want to bring unnecessary attention to it. First and foremost, I'm an athlete, and this YouTube is just to bring you along for that journey. And I'm certainly not making YouTube videos to be controversial. However, I did decide to make this video as I have been completely transparent from the start of this channel, and I want that to continue. And secondly, I actually have nothing to hide. This race was simply another opportunity to practice racing and lay it all out there and see where the fitness is. And I achieved all that, and I am super pumped with the race and super excited for the future. Yes, I would rather not be disqualified, and I am disappointed, as I believed I raced within the rules. This involved getting approval from a race official the day prior to the race, reading the rules back to front, and checking with my coaching team, who were completely supportive. However, I understand this decision has been made. I accept that, respect the officials and organisations, and I'm moving on. One of my favourite quotes is from Viktor Frankl, who was a psychologist in Auschwitz, who said, "The last of the human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." So I hope by being honest and completely transparent with all this that maybe I might be able to encourage someone somehow. I believe this channel is a space and a community where we can all encourage each other, support each other to live our lives to the fullest, all with this common interest we have in triathlon. I've been overwhelmed with the support coming through here and incredibly grateful for the handful of you I've been able to meet at races. It's honestly blown me away. So let's go back to where this all started. If you haven't watched the race recap, I certainly encourage you to go back and have a look, as I'm not going to go into all the details which I've already covered in that video. Effectively, the tide was very low at Melbourne 70.3, which meant there was roughly a 100 metre wade and then about a 30 to 40 metre swim out to the first buoy, where you would turn left and begin a rectangle, as there was a right-hand turn buoy about 650 metres down the beach. Note that during the process of dealing with the race officials, we were able to go back and have a closer look at the race specifications to calculate a more accurate understanding of the advantage I gained. After making that left-hand buoy, I veered left to come into the shallow water, where I could wade, duck dive and run along the beach for 500 metres before entering on a diagonal to swim the 200 metres back out to the right-hand turn buoy. In doing so, based off the pace I swam the rest of the swim, it was calculated that I saved approximately 30 seconds to 1 minute by doing this, as I also had to travel a minimum of an extra 350 meters in the process. So what are the rules about this action? There are two key rules that may be referred to. Before doing this though, let's check the purpose of the rules according to Triathlon Australia. Part C states the rules are intended to emphasise ingenuity and skill without unduly limiting the competitor's freedom of action. The definition of ingenuity is the quality of being clever, original, and inventive. Now, with that in mind, let's take a look at the two rules that relate to this topic. First is from Triathlon Australia, section 2.3 of the Swimming Conduct, which states a competitor may not make use of the bottom to make forward progress. Now, according to this rule, as it is written, I would interpret this means every person must be disqualified, as every person uses the bottom to go in and out of the water. So when I was discussing this topic with the official, they did agree that the rule is not clear, as there is no stipulation of when an athlete can and cannot use the bottom or how long they can use the bottom for. Therefore, the official did agree that I was not in violation of this rule. My interpretation of why that is because if I was to be disqualified for this rule, it would also have to be applied to every other athlete. The second rule that was discussed between myself and the official was from Ironman's rules, section I of the Swim Conduct, which states it is the sole responsibility of each athlete to know and follow the prescribed swimming course. The question I posed the official is how do we define what the course is, as the rules do not make this clear. The official agreed that this rule is vague and does not provide any clear meaning for what the exact course is. I questioned the official as to whether the course is deemed as simply turning every buoy required, or must you also follow a certain direction after turning each buoy? If so, what is the exact direction and what is the allowed deviation? The official was unable to provide an answer. It is my understanding that this also means that there is no exact requirement for what it means to follow the prescribed course. Therefore, it is my team's opinion that a minimum standard would be fair of travelling the required distance, turning every buoy and not taking any shortcuts, which is why my team and I believe I was not in violation of this rule. As triathletes, we swim in the open water with currents, tides, and hundreds of other swimmers, so people deviate naturally all the time. However, athletes will also choose to find points at which the current is either slower or faster. They will deviate to manage waves, catch waves in, or use the current on the way out. People have been wading and running along sandbanks and attempting to gain advantages in the water in triathlons from the beginning. My coach, who was a professional in both short and long course triathlon, has been seeing people do this for decades. Even at Sunny Coast 70.3 a couple months ago, we saw people running 150 metres down the beach to get a different angle to enter into the first buoy. I'm not saying that that is the exact same as my situation. I'm simply saying this is a key reason why section I can be viewed differently, as there is no set deviation that is and isn't allowed. This rule is completely open to an individual's interpretation of what the course is. Hence, given the fact I did travel the required distance, turned every buoy, and actually travelled further than the required distance, the officials agreed my actions were not in direct contradiction with this rule. And here we arise at the key issue that was found. There is no precedent for what I did being disallowed. These rules have been bent and understood for decades, and I am far from the first athlete to go out of their way to run, wade or swim and gain an advantage by understanding the course. So from our perspective, if Ironman or Triathlon Australia are keen to begin cracking down on these actions, the rules do need to be altered and made clear as to what is an allowed deviation and what is allowed contact with the ground. And then it is our belief that these new rules or clarified interpretations of the rules cannot be applied historically but only to future events. If the drafting rules are changed to 20 metres, they can't go back and disqualify every athlete that raced under the 12-metre drafting rules. I hope that these rules can be clarified for future events. Also, I wouldn't have done it if the rules didn't allow it. If my coaching team didn't love the idea, and if I had been told by any official on the day to turn back, I certainly would have. I have no intention to gain any unfair advantage and wouldn't be posting the exact details on YouTube if I did. My team and I do not agree I gained an unfair advantage, as unfair would be stating it was an advantage that no one else had access to, or by me using the advantage, it took away another's access to it. Every single person had the same opportunity I did. We were all at the same race and had the same conditions. Therefore, my team do not believe I gained an unfair advantage. So from our perspective, I raced within the rules and raced within the interpretation of the rules as they have been historically managed. Ironman and Triathlon Australia also agree I did not violate any specific rule as they are specified to the letter presently. No official had any issues with my actions on the day. The only evidence used in the decision by the official was me talking in my YouTube. There is no footage or anything from the day that has allowed the referee to make this decision. From our calculation, we believe the advantage saved me approximately 30 seconds to 1 minute. We believe I did not gain any unfair advantage as every other person had the same opportunity that I did. Finally, as I stated at the start, Triathlon Australia states that one of the key purposes of the rules is to encourage ingenuity, which is to encourage people to think outside the box and be creative. It's for these reasons we don't agree with the decision that I gained an unfair advantage, but we accept the decision and appreciate Ironman and Triathlon Australia have the best intentions. I'm very grateful for the respectful manner in which both Ironman and Triathlon Australia dealt with this situation. I'm also very grateful for their diligence in maintaining a fair and equal sport and respect their role of maintaining the rules to be an extremely difficult one. Thank you so much for all the support in both the comments and in person. Thank you so much for following along on the journey. We're on to Ironman New Zealand now, so stick around for the journey, crew. Thanks for watching.